Good day.
Mate.
Welcome back to Himitsubishi.
Welcome.
Which Mitsubishi Lancer you reckon? It's probably the top
Lancer's
pick.
pretty cool.
Top pick.
I like the Mitsubishi Rider as well. That's a good one.
Is it?
Yeah, I hear the Rider's a pretty good mode of vehicular transportation. Although the Sabre is top waifu. So,
of course. Personally, the Mitsubishi Zero is my favorite thing.
That's not a class, though. The Zero isn't a class. It's Rider, Lancer, Sabre, Berserker, Archer, Caster. Is that all of them?
It's only 6, right?
Yeah, it's only 6.
That's 6.
All of them. I did it!
So proud
Do
of
I
you.
get points for that?
No, that's
God
not in
damn
the
it.
rules of Mahjong.
Why can't that be in the rules of Mahjong? I don't understand.
The Informant!
Whoa! Name's Saber-san.
Let me get into his car before he set off. He favored narrow roads and made numerous short left turns. Checking if we're being followed.
Yeah, you know a lot about this.
Checking to see if you're being tailed by making left turns with a razor classic technique. If it was just a single pursuer, you could confirm it that way. But if you were being tailed as a team, this archaic method wouldn't let you shake them. Of course, doing it anyway was better than not.
I didn't hear anything from the boss as to who you are, Akasaka-kun. Related to the police? If you're familiar with checking for being tailed, the only other possibility I can think of is that something like a private detective.
Yeah, it's not something I'd have to say. I'd like to refuse to answer that question.
My. Ever since we played Mahjong, you seem a lot more mature. I wonder where that hesitant person went from when we first met.
I smiled wryly. Looking back, I had to be a little grateful for being made to play Mahjong. Thanks to that, I was able to relieve some tension. Eventually, Sato-san, confirming there were no cars following us, slipped outside the city. We were on a pitch-black country road, unable to see anything besides the lights outside. The only things I was able to hear were the hum of the car's air conditioning and the chirping of insects and frogs.
I heard from the boss. Do you want to hear a bit about Hinamizawa Village, yeah?
Like about the old houses known as the 3 families who control the place, or right now it's pretty much the Sonozaki family running things, right?
If you know that much already, I'll cut out the introductions.
Then if you would, can you
Uh-huh. Fury's already stolen our line once, now it's Ryukishi!
God damn it.
Ryukishi!
Can you confirm or deny if the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance is involved with the kidnapping of Minister Onogai's grandson?
Is Ryukishi Nick Fury?
Sato-san checked the rearview mirror one more time to confirm there wasn't anybody behind us before speaking.
Last night, Sonozaki main house held a family council. Did you hear about it from the boss?
No.
If it was a normal meeting, then it would just be all the relatives coming together over a nice cup of tea or something. But a family council held by the main house isn't quite so relaxed.
A family council held by the Sonozaki main house. That would be a meeting between those who truly controlled Hinamizawa Village. They wouldn't be talking about private family matters, it would be about the village as a whole. About organizing activities against the dam project. Among other things, everything would be decided there. In reality, they were deciding the fate of the village. At the head of the meeting was Oryo Sonozaki, more or less called Empress Sonozaki, as the ultimate decision maker of the clan. She was to be feared and respected. Infirm with old age, she was often unable to stand on her own, but her words carried enough weight to sway the fate of the village. It seemed that lately she had grown weak, and on days where she wasn't feeling well, remained bedridden. Family councils that occurred while she wasn't feeling well took place with her on the floor. In the middle of a dignified Japanese-style room, still in a futon, only the upper half of her body sitting upright, a stern look on her face, that was Oryo Sonozaki. Sounds like the Borg Queen from Star Trek First Contact.
That's what I was going for when I picked the voice.
Yeah.
Yes! Picard! I have you now!
We draw the line here!
They gave me a heart attack.
Sitting next to her was her heir, Mion Sonozaki.
Oh, damn.
She was still young.
Sonoa Zaki?
Oh, it does too.
Come on!
She was still young, though young wasn't quite the right word. She was a girl who remained childish. Her role was to merely sit beside Oryo Sonozaki, sometimes responding to her requests.
You spelled it right there! It's 3 lines difference! What happened?
That's probably why they didn't notice.
What happened?
However, she was the only one deemed worthy to succeed Oryo. She had the same hawkish eyes, enough to give pause to anybody who so much looked at them. Much was expected of her in the future, this granddaughter of the Sonozaki's leader.
who so much at looked at... I'm done. I'm done with these typos. You'll be on edge.
And also on the other side of her sat several other important members of the family. 3 families. The Kimiyoshi family and the Furude family. First on the list for the Kimiyoshi family was of course the mayor of Hinamizawa village, Kichiro Kimiyoshi.
Oh.
And lined up beside him were several more of his direct relatives.
Hi, hello.
Opposite them sat the other of the 3 families, the Furude family.
Me.
The Furude family was only comprised of the family of a Shinto priest, so the only ones sitting there were said priest, his wife, and their daughter Rika. Rika was doted on by many of the older folks in the village, and it seemed that Oreo was no exception. While the stress from just attending a family council was said to be enough to shorten your lifespan by 3 days, it seemed that Rika was the only one exempt from that. Or was she? No matter how charged the atmosphere was around her, she paid it no mind, instead humming along as she doodled in a sketchbook.
No, Donald. Donald getting called out.
He's called out.
By Rika.
In fact, the night before, lying on her stomach and humming and doodling, she nonchalantly tucked her legs into Oreo's futon like it was a kotatsu. All this was the 3 families, and all around the room, lined up row upon row, were relatives of the Sonozaki family. The only ones who were afforded cushions to sit on were direct relatives. The others were left to sit in the seiza position, directly on the tatami mats.
Damn, that's rude.
With Empress Sonozaki enshrined at their center, they were almost like a giant snake coiled around the room. It was decided that everybody would sit in order of their rank. The number of people from the Sonozaki family was overwhelming. The fact that the Sonozaki family held so many seats at a meeting where everything pertaining to the village was decided made determining where the balance of power was held in the 3 families as clear as day. The number of members in attendance from each of the families directly reflected how much influence they had in ruling Hinamizawa. What was talked about at that meeting? Sato-san, after remaining silent for a while, quietly began to speak. It's rain.
Oh shit. So it's literally like we're gonna have that scene.
Is
now.
this insider information or secondhand information, you reckon? Was Sato there?
Maybe. Who else would have, like, someone would have to tell him otherwise, right?
Exactly.
Some kind of insider leaking the information.
Is Sato the mole, or is the mole informing Sato, is the question.
Who knows, dude? What wasn't our monetary gift of appreciation of the media a little large? Oh, it's this guy. It was a little large, wasn't it? Yes, that's me.
Breaking the long moment of silence was the head of the Kimiyoshi family, Kichiro Kimiyoshi. The Onigafuchi Defense Alliance wasn't a business. You know what? This is your character story, narrated in his voice.
Thank you. I was wondering, like, why are you taking it from me?
It took so long to start.
I was thinking about what voice to go with. You never give me time. Breaking the long moment of silence was the head of the Kimiyoshi family, Kichiro Kimiyoshi. Your Onigafuchi Defense Alliance wasn't a business. They were nothing more than a private organization pushing for the cancellation of the Inamizawa Dam project, with no reliable source of income. Fundraising had always been a problem. When they first started operating, they had managed to collect a sizable amount of funds through donations, but as the conflict dragged on, that amount was steadily declining. Is this Oreo?
I think. Is Kimiyoshi?
No, because he was like, why are we giving money to the media, wasn't it? Wasn't that what he said? Yeah, it was a little large. So this must be somebody else.
I'm still going with him.
It's not him. It can't be.
Yes,
because he's like, the media is important. And before they were like, yo, why are you giving so much money to the media?
Was he?
Yes! Wasn't our monetary gift a little large? And then someone's like, yo, this is why we pay the media so much damn money.
I see.
So I'm gonna go with Oreo, but it might be someone else. This isn't an hour where you can get what you want just by throwing rocks. Very important you underestimate rather, the power of the media. We want to borrow some of that down the road. The expressions of the people related to the Sonozaki family were sullen, as the one who suggested that they should borrow that power was the family head, Oreo Sonozaki!
Well, the thing is...
Do I get points for that?
You get points for that.
I get points for that!
I still get points for that.
Why do you get points?
Because we're on the same tally.
Damn it. You know what, it's fine. We get 3 points.
3 points. Well done, Ben.
points.
Congratulations.
I had to pick a number.
You've saved us from the dregs.
You're very welcome. We're like 100 points behind. It's fine. The battle wasn't just about force of arms. In the civilized age, there were civilized methods of fighting. Oreo suggested that, creating a strategy incorporating the mass media. Oreo's foresight was spot on, and the effects of the plan were at first unclear, slowly began to manifest. If the physical confrontation at the construction site was meant to delay progress on the dam by even one day, then the propaganda war used in the media was aimed at attacking the dam project itself. At first, there were those who had doubts about the strategy, but there was nobody now who called those results into question. But in order to maintain those media ties, a colossal amount of money was required. As long as the amount of funds they had was abundant, things would turn out fine. It couldn't be argued that it was a massive expense, but the results spoke for themselves. But with the conflict continuing to drag on, the circumstances had changed. The head of the Sonozaki family, now the one who sat at the pinnacle of the Inamizawa three families, Oryo, had suggested the idea herself, so it was already untouchable, and continued to be allowed to drain from the budget. Nobody acknowledged that it should be so allowed, but nobody could say anything. That was the price of dealing with the mass media. What do you think, Oryo-san? Okay, good. The only person who could object to a plan proposed by the head of the Sonozaki household herself was probably Mayor Kimiyoshi. Oryo, with a hard-to-define expression on her face, as if she had severed herself from the fetters of mortal emotion, simply listened quietly to Kimiyoshi's words. But really, it was hard to tell if she was quietly listening, or didn't even have the intention of listening at all. Last year, we went through a lot of trouble getting people to wrap their heads around the price hike on the bulletins we were putting out. We convinced them it was just the one time. It just wouldn't do if we had another one this year. Right, Furude-san? The mayor looked to the priest and his wife from the Furude family for affirmation. The priest gave a vague expression, avoiding a prompt response, but his wife gave her answer without a second thought. That's right. The cost of the bulletins are a particularly harsh burden for the poorer families. Everybody is dealing with it for the sake of the village, but it's best we don't increase the prices anymore. The bulletin was, as its name implied, a bulletin published by the ODA. It outlined the Alliance's activities, ideals, and resolve, but you couldn't deny the contents were rather piecemeal. That bulletin's main goal wasn't to inform people, but rather was something to sell to businesses and people living in the village or connected to it, and using those sales to collect funds. In other words, it becomes something of a tax. Of course, it didn't have to be said that this was one of the main sources of income for the ODA. Originally, purchase was supposed to be voluntary, but in Hinamizawa it had started to become the opposite. In the neighboring towns as well, it seemed that many businesses were buying copies just to avoid butting heads with the Alliance. The priest whispered to his wife to not say anything unnecessary, but was struck down decidedly with a cold glare. Cowering from that glare, the priest shut his mouth. The priest's wife always held the power in their relationship. That was because she was the one who carried the Furude bloodline. The priest merely married into the family. He was nothing more than somebody who adopted the name, just to join the three families.
A lot of matriarchal lineage going on.
Yeah, some shit going
families.
on. You know, Oreo and the Furude family. Kimiyoshi, decidedly male though, which is interesting. He should have been able to find a spot fairly high up in the hierarchy of things, but the lack of authority in his voice meant that he had still not gained any favor. Casting a backwards glance at her rather disparate parents, Rika continued to doodle whimsically without paying them any mind. Signaled by a look from Oreo, Mion brought her ear closer to her grandmother. There, something was said to her in a quiet voice. After responding with a couple questions with a nod from Oreo, Mion looked around the room and conveyed her grandmother's words.
There will no freeze on the price increase for the bulletin.
Kimiyoshi made a face like he had just bit into something unpleasant.
I made that face too just then.
Yeah, that grandmother. But that expression quickly disappeared like it had never happened at all. But Mion-chan, I think you already know this, but the cost of the bulletin is by no means easily affordable. It's a burden carried by everybody in Amisawa. If we make people carry too much of that burden, it's possible collapse from the inside.
And who on the inside would start that collapse?
Oh! Who? I didn't mean it like that.
I'm asking who would be the first to buckle.
Being cross-examined by a girl who still had fragments of childishness remaining within her, the words stuck in Kimiyoshi's throat as he sunk into silence. Mion repeated her question once more, looking around the crowded room. Everybody refrained, making eye contact, to avoid being pierced by her gaze. The words she had spoken were inarguably said in proxy for Oreo. That's why when Mion spoke them, they carried the same weight. But the look in her eyes was different. Like Oreo's, they had a hawkish gaze strong enough that anybody looking upon them would freeze in their tracks and yield. But that gaze was without question one that belonged to Mion herself. As Mion would eventually inherit everything from Oreo, the day when she would stand up as the young and capable leader in her own right would come. Nobody wanted to believe otherwise for even a minute. That's why nobody even thought of Mion as just some sort of little kid.
Miyoshi-san, nobody will lose their resolve over something like a price hike on the bulletin.
Kimiyoshi, while grumbling a little bit, made a gesture to say he had no objection.
The expenses related to the mass media will continue. If those expenses become too much, we'll have no choice but to continue the price hikes.
Mion had rendered her judgment. Everybody bowed their heads, silently listening to her words.
In the name of Mion Sonozaki, as acting head of the Sonozaki family, I hereby declare that all this shall be effective immediately. There shall be no objections and any opposition shall be removed by force.
Damn! The formal decree was read aloud, indicating her judgment. There would be no retrial, but there was a certain authority behind those words that even a courthouse couldn't compare to. If she was a judge, she would have banged her gavel, signaling that the matter was settled. Mion pulled out a large bell from inside her clothes and rang it.
Oh, that bell?
The chimes, you mean? Signaling the traversing into the spirit world. Everybody present could only prostrate themselves before the harsh sound of the bell.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Mysterious, even. Well, that's a rather old-fashioned family council, isn't it?
A young girl like you probably would find it hard to believe. In an antiquated place like this, these types of things have firm roots.
It was exactly as Ooishi had said. The old system of the three families had vanished, and now the Sonozaki family was running things by themselves. On top of that, their rule was borderline despotic. Was that the end of the meeting?
No, there's more. I'll continue. God damn it.
Why even cut back then?
I don't know. Eventually, after the ring of the bell ceased, there was a deafening silence. Within all of that, a lone man shuffled closer to Mion and whispered something in her ear. Mion asked several questions quietly in response. When she was satisfied, she motioned for the man to leave. The man who talked to Mion was a member of a gang that her father was the leader of. That organization had the entire area of Shishibone City under its control, so it was quite well known even here. Of course, this was talking about the criminal underworld, so it's not like just anybody would know. But just showing a patch with the gang symbol on it was enough to resolve any disputes in the neighborhood. Mion's biological father, Oreo, was her daughter's husband. The power of that man's gang was the driving force that controlled the dark underbelly of the ODA. And so that man, from his position as the next in line to control the three families, continued to coerce everybody around him with his unconventional presence. Mion exchanged a look with her father. Was it okay for her to tell what she had just heard directly to Oreo? It looked like she was asking him that question. Her father gently but firmly nodded his response. Mion also nodded, then started up to Oreo and informed her of something. Eventually, Mion finished conveying her message, separated herself from Oreo, and fixed her posture, waiting for Oreo to signal her response. It wasn't often that Oreo showed any emotion. That's why, when she started to laugh quietly, a vague sense of uneasiness crept over everybody in the room. That's quite the conundrum, isn't it? Oreo was laughing so happily that Kimiyoshi had to hesitantly ask, "What is it, Oreo-san?" "If this land is like a mother to us, then this business with the dam is like somebody threatening our mother's life, isn't it?" Kimiyoshi, unable to comprehend the meaning of her words, looked confused. Oreo, with a wide grin on her face, turned towards everybody and addressed them in a clarion voice. "The minister behind the dam project is apparently rattled over the kidnapping of his grandson. That makes us even."
That's absurd. Information on the kidnapping of Minister Inugai's grandson shouldn't have leaked from anywhere. How did they know? Even we didn't know much about the kidnapping incident. Exactly how did an antiquated household so far away from Tokyo come to know of it? It was in the bulletins.
That's it. It was in the bulletins. That's how they found out.
The guys that kidnapped him are paying for a spot in the bulletins.
Yeah.
And
that's how they gain their funding.
Exactly.
To pay the mass media. It's from the kidnappers.
Exactly, which is not connected to them in any way other than this one financial deal.
That makes sense to me. I know. Just do it. Just read it.
It was a tranquil place, but I couldn't help but have an uneasy feeling about Hinamizawa village. At some point, I had mentally filed this place away as unrelated to the incident at hand, and mental paperwork had just blown away in the wind. How did the ODA know about that? Sato-san, unable to come up with an answer, fell into silence. Sorry, please continue.
Sure.
These cutaways are so pointless. Why do we need to go back to the car? Why
don't we just have them all at the end?
I guess the story's at least trying to maintain some sense of narrator.
Yeah, I guess so. But why not just do it at the end and save us some time?
Whatever.
He's trying to pace the scene.
He's trying.
The Minister of Construction's grandson was kidnapped. Oreo-san, is that true? That major of an incident was nowhere to be seen in the newspapers or on TV. But in Hinamizawa, there was nothing strange about Oreo knowing something that the rest of the world didn't. Our pain is the pain of losing a mother. I don't think it completely makes up for it, but the pain of losing a grandchild. You'll have to bear with that for a bit, don't you think? The last question wasn't addressed to anybody in particular. It was as if she was looking for consensus.
In English, we call that rhetorical.
That's way too easy to say. Rhetorical question? Get out of here, we're looking for consensus. Still.
No.
What?
We're looking for a question that wasn't addressed to anybody in particular.
Sure.
It was if she was asking for consensus.
Exactly. Yeah, I get you.
You can't be that brief.
I'm with you. It's true. We can't use one word. Still, land and a human child are different things. I don't mind hiding him here, but I want no harm to befall him. The child isn't to blame. Make sure to keep that in mind.
That means that the Onigashima Defense Alliance were involved in the kidnapping?
Shocking! I never saw that one coming.
Neither. I do wonder if anyone has ever gotten to this point and actually been surprised at this. It has to be someone, right?
I certainly wasn't.
It has to be someone.
Who knows?
Glad it wasn't me.
Wasn't you? You're not getting bamboozled by the story. Ain't happening.
Never once happened.
I can't say for certain.
Why? Even though their leader, Uryo, was clearly giving orders on the treatment of the kidnapped child.
Lad, you see, this is what the Sonozaki family always does.
Always does? What do you mean by that?
Let's say there was a particular problem. One that wasn't exactly favorable for the Sonozaki family. If Oreo shows concern over that particular problem, hearing that, somebody who attended the family council would be helpful. As a result, Oreo's wish would be granted. However, neither Oreo or anybody else would know who actually did it. With this kind of clever little ploy, the Sonozaki family was able to manipulate events, even though they had their hands laid out on the table.
Now, take this, reframe chapter arc 3 with it.
Yeah?
Bing bang boom, Keiichi's in your room with a baseball bat.
There you go. Why is he in your room?
Well, where else is he gonna kill you?
Out in a public place where everyone can see?
Well, I mean, yeah, but like, I don't wear Hawaiian shirts.
I don't either. Not usually. Only at parties that specifically require you to wear Hawaiian shirts.
And that means somebody who was at the family council was the culprit.
Oh, there's a possibility. There never was a culprit in the first place. Oreo herself and that room full of people didn't explicitly say that somebody pulled off the kidnapping. She was just giving her opinion.
It was an odd and unpleasantly secretive way of doing things. Were they involved or weren't they? I couldn't see beyond the veil. As much, however, I could say with certainty. This kidnapping was an ironclad secret. No matter how high a position somebody was in, even they wouldn't know about it. If there was somebody who would know about it, they would be connected to public safety. In other words, one of us. The only other options were people connected to the case itself, including the minister. There would be people affected by the incident, or the people that committed it. In any case, there was no way an old household in a place removed from Tokyo by over 6 hours of highway travel should know about it. Them knowing it all was already strange. My suspicions began to accumulate. like falling snow.
That's as much as Oreo said in regards to kidnapping. Hopefully what you wanted to find out was in there.
See, I'm at a point right now where, like, I obviously think it's the Sonozakis that have kidnapped this kid, but I'm also, like, 100% ready for the stories to just be like, surprise mountain puppies!
Mountain puppies, that sounds adorable. Who knows, dude?
Well, because they'd be young at this point.
I see. Well, who knows? After this, it's up to you. I don't know what kind of work you're doing, but if you're going up against the Sonozaki family, you best prepare yourself. Ooishi might be fearless, but even he's been attacked 2 or 3 times. He hasn't been worried lately, but at one point he was wearing a stab-proof vest while off duty.
Oh. Thanks for the warning. I'll be careful.
You speak pretty well. Are you from Tokyo by any chance?
What's your point? Investigators were always close to danger. It's best not to divulge any information on myself. I came here and my wife is in hospital giving birth to our child. Oh, oops.
Oh no. Your job. Could it you possibly be someone from the Metropolitan Public Safety Division?
I couldn't remain silent here. It would be the same as admitting it.
Just say no.
Oh, no way.
This wasn't accounted for in the money I got from the boss. But as somebody who played at the same table today, I'll give you this one as a freebie. After Oreo talked about the kidnapping, there was one other topic that came up.
Another topic that Oreo brought up?
I've never heard Ricochet repeat himself.
And right before he told me this, Sato-san asked if I was from the Metropolitan Public Safety Division? In other words... What those 2 things meant caused a chill to run up my spine.
I never heard Ricochet repeat himself. Okay, who is this? Is this...
Oreo. He said Oreo brought something up in the
Okay,
meeting.
I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking about how dumb Ricochet is.
I agree.
It happens. So you see that in order to investigate the kidnapping of the minister's grandson, there's word that there will be an investigator from public safety dispatched all the way from Tokyo. An investigator from public safety? They can't be reckless and make a big deal of the kidnapping, so it seems the Metropolitan Public Safety Division is investigating this on their own. Ain't that grand? What is it? Rika, who had been drawing the entire time and was completely uninterested in the conversation up until now, looked at Oreo with an interested face as soon as the topic of public safety came up. Did the Metropolitan Police come? Oh, so Rika-chama knows about the Metropolitan Police Department. That's very admirable. Who came? Is there anybody that knows what kind of guy from public safety came here?
Hold on.
What?
Everything up to here was, you know, it was future tense, and then now suddenly we're in past tense. There's been a big divulgence of information in the middle of this statement.
Yeah. Is there anybody that knows what kind of guy from public safety came here? Mion's father raised his hand slightly.
I hear that it's a nice young piece of fresh meat.
Fresh meat? Back on the menu? Is it nice and tender?
It is. Fresh meat.
Mion's father smiled wryly as he answered Rika's question. Tender and tasty?
Yeah, tender and tasty.
Rika smiled with interest. Why did Rika suddenly act interested only when it came to this topic? That was a question that apparently nobody had the answer to. Also, we get points for that, because it didn't indicate that it was Rika asking questions.
Well, you're right, we do get
points. So we get 2 points!
2 points?
Yeah,
okay,
2 points. Does Rika-chama know something about this man? I don't know. After her rather flat reply, Rika buried herself underneath Oreo's futon again. But when she buried herself there, Rika no longer started drawing again. Instead, she was making an expression like she was deep in contemplation.
What should we do about him, Mother?
Mion's father posed a question, yet the type of uncouth expression on his face, indicating that given the order, he could snuff the problem out at any time. He came all the way to Namizawa. Let him take it easy for a little while.
So you're saying to just let him go around as he pleases?
Mion's father asked in response. Oreo smiled thinly as she responded. Leave him alone. But if he starts causing too much mischief when that happens, don't hold back. I don't enjoy being taken lightly. Oh.
Is what they talked about, apparently.
Yeah, I guess that's my line.
Look at that flow. This is beautiful.
We're just cutting back and forth. It's like poetry. It
exactly.
rhymes.
It's like a smooth lake surface and then a waterfall.
Then we crash down on the rock below.
Exactly.
Is what they talked about, apparently. It couldn't be that you're that fresh meat for the Metropolitan Police, are you?
It couldn't be.
Is what they talked about, apparently, so he is getting it from another source.
Yeah. The sensation of cold, bristling fear began to crawl its way up my back. Or alternatively, this guy is being paid off by Mion's father, and this is a stitch-up.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe he's the mole.
Oh my god.
Oh!
This family council took place last night. In other words, yesterday. And today, when I was dressed up as a tourist headed towards Hinamizawa, my cover was already blown.
Uh-oh.
Music. When I remembered the first person I met when I got to the bus stop, I couldn't breathe. The person at the family council who expressed interest in the man being dispatched from the Metropolitan Police, Rika Furude. And then the person who was waiting for me the whole time in the bus shelter, Rika Furude. It was an unthinkable image. No, it was a delusion. When we met at the bus shelter, did Rika-chan already know my true identity?
Nah.
Did she know that I was Akasaka, dispatched from the Metropolitan Police Department, and come to meet me?
Nah.
Then including Mayor Kimiyoshi, every villager that I met. Everybody knew, but just pretended not to.
Maybe.
Because Ario had given instructions not to interfere. Thinking about it logically, it didn't seem possible. I met quite a number of people. If there's people that are good at acting, then there's people who are bad at hiding things. If there was that many people, then there should have been somebody among them who knew I was from public safety and couldn't hide their hostility. However, I didn't feel any presence like that. Didn't you? You were the one speaking to Rika, right?
Yeah.
But then, even still, why did Ario tell them to leave me alone? Was it because they were careless about it? It would only raise more suspicion? Or was it because they believed a rookie like me wouldn't be able to find anything? Akasaka is a coward. I recalled that strange voice which could only make me believe that Rika-chan had been possessed. That unknown entity, no matter how you looked at it, knew my true identity from the get-go. And then, how did it warn me again? That's right. It warned me to hurry up and go back to Tokyo. Instead of the realistic worry that the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance had discovered my identity, the absurd worry brought on by the unknown girl stuck with me more. What exactly was that girl? What was the thing I would eventually regret? What the mysterious girl? Rika Furude. Let's stop this. Everything I was thinking of right now was merely conjecture. Tomorrow, first thing in the morning, I'll report everything I heard right now to HQ and await further orders. There was no mistaking that the possibility the ODA were related to this case was there, and that the fact that my cover was blown meant I was in a precarious position, but as everybody at HQ was already extremely busy, they might not be able to spare the support.
Is that everything? If you want, I can drop you off wherever you like.
Sorry, in that case, the station where we originally met. Please. A rural road where even a streetlight was rare. I couldn't see anything. I wasn't aware of anything but the asphalt that was lit up by the headlights. Outside of that light, was it simply darkness? Was there something lurking there waiting to strike? I had to think I drew the short straw here. Wanted to go back to Tokyo. For some reason, the voice of the girl warning me to go back to Tokyo still lingered in my head.
Go back to Tokyo. Go back, you dumb idiot. Go back. Return the slab.
It's the end of the chapter. Do we get tips?
Return the slab. I forget. Do we have tips at the end of the last one?
No.
That's how it works. It alternates.
Not always, I think.
It does. Yeah, it does. It alternates. It's every second, chapter end is where we get tips. Although, technically, I think they're all one chapter with two parts.
Yes.
If that makes sense. Mahjong Prodigy, that's
tips.
us. Oh!
The investigation runs aground, but they're not sailing.
What if they were, though? Maybe that's a twist.
Oh, you're right. What if Japan's just a big boat?
A big island of some sort in the ocean? What if we're all just on boats, dude? Boats made of dirt.
Waterworld is a wonderful movie.
Yeah!
I don't know if that's true. I haven't watched it in ages.
Yeah! I haven't watched it ever, so... I don't know who this is. But yeah, yesterday when we met at the restaurant in Ginza, that topic popped up. That's overstepping their boundaries, isn't it? They're meddling too much with public safety. If they keep doing that, they're going to set bad precedent. It seems that Minister Inugai is openly uncomfortable about the way public safety is doing things. The Vice Minister is probably going to say something to that effect during Monday's debate session. But what can you do? We can only have the Director address the Vice Minister. That's why we pay him the big bucks. Well, if it comes to that, they're going to ask you for proof that the Minister's being threatened. Sometimes I don't know what side he's on. If he's not on ours, then what? Well, he's probably getting some pressure from the Minister. We'll probably just have to proceed with the investigation while he sweats it out in the Vice Minister's office and buys us some time. He might get so long out to dry that all that'll be left are dregs, though. So, how is the investigation going, Investigation Ooishi? Well, regular Ooishi, book Ooishi, all the juicy leads I was pinning my hopes on turned out to be nuts. Honestly, I am at a loss. There are reports that the Hinamizo Dam project has been showing up a lot lately in the minister's press releases, so what about that? Well, you'll say showing up, but it's really more of this very slight feeling that something is strange. He just happened to mention it during his speech at the redacted, that's right, we're redacting regular speech now, the redacted prefectural forum, so it just might have been something that he was mentioning because it was relevant at the time. Or it is big conspiracy. If I remember correctly, a local organization there was protesting quite violently, no? The ODA, yes, I think Akasaka was investigating that one. I think those guys could possibly be behind what's happening now. Even if we can't say there's anything overtly suspicious about them, it might not be prudent to remove them from the picture, touches nose. Akasaka reported in passing that he couldn't deny that possibility. Then isn't there merit in investigating them by going through everything with a fine-tooth comb, so they're one of these suspicious groups that are left will eventually have to. Well, they're not the only group we should investigate, right? If we're just talking about groups that are as suspicious as Onigafuchi, there's quite a lot of them.
Are we gonna get a name?
Like those biker gangs, there are those 3 kids that they only have tricycles now, but when they grow up they'll be assholes. We don't have the men, the time, or the money at all. Also asking for more and more details for Akasaka-kun. I feel like we should pay some extra attention to the Defense Alliance. It's reported he's established a rapport with the villagers. It also seems that he's collaborating with the local police. Keep your contact with Akasaka-kun on the down low! Also, if there's anything in his info that merits investigation, it's possible we can send reinforcements. Got it! Sorry, Chief Kataoka! There's a phone call from Director. Should I transfer it over here? No, it's okay. I'll head over there. Yes, hello? What did we learn from that?
Nothing.
Good.
Nothing.
I don't know what we learned from that, I'll be honest. I don't. I just want to know.
There might be reinforcements, and
there might be people coming.
Nobody else is doing anything successful. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
I love that show.
It's a great show. I've never watched it. Do you believe that there are choices in life? There are many people who lament the following. If there only existed points in life where there were clear choices to make, we would be able to scrutinize those carefully and make decisions that would lead us to a better future. Every time I hear people lament as such, I cast it off as a rather trivial worry. Even if you were given a clear choice, it wouldn't be meaningful at all and there wouldn't be any such path to a better future. This is hard to understand. Then, let's pretend that in front of you there are 2 strange boxes. In other words, you have 2 clear choices. Do you open the red box or the blue box? A lot of things would be uncertain even with that choice, wouldn't they? If you don't have the option of opening neither, then your choice boils down to the natural impulse of opening the box that holds a better result for you. Then, after examining the shape and features of each, and pondering a great many things, you have to pick either the red or the blue. If this was you, which box would you open? Felix?
I'd open the red box, because it matches the theme of the scene.
Same, I like red, it's my favorite color, so red all the time. Red or blue? If you were to go by their traditional meanings, then red would be a dangerous, threatening color. However, that doesn't automatically mean that it would be calm and relaxing inside the blue box either. In fact, it might even be that the colors are a trap, making you aware of the red box and have you open the blue. A trap? Could it be the contents of the box aren't a reward, but rather a penalty? See, now you're at a loss. You're so conflicted over the choice between red and blue that you've started wishing there was an option to open neither and just leave. But there isn't. You have to open either the red box or the blue box. Oh, I forgot to say this, but if you choose one box, the other will disappear. So you'll never know the contents of the box you don't open. I'll just put that rule at the end there for you. Now, why don't you choose the red box or the blue box? It's alright, you won't lose anything by picking either one. Come on now.
I mean, we said it.
We did? Have you thought about it? In the end, you chose this color, didn't you? As soon as you choose, the other box disappeared, so you can give up on the contents of that one, okay? That's the rule. Now, open up the box you chose.
First interactive element we've had in this game, and I'm spooked.
Inside the box there was a piece of caramel.
Congratulations, Ben.
It was your piece, though. I'm not the one opening it. I know you're a little disappointed. Well, that's only natural. No matter how you look at it, it looks like you drew the dud. It's delicious, though. The correct box might have had a bar of chocolate in it for all you know.
Very presumptive.
Oh, in fact, something incredible like a pair of tickets to Hawaii might have been in there. But even if you wanted to verify that, the other box has already disappeared.
I would really love if the blue box was just like, congratulations, you've won. Here's the solution to the game. But I
don't have to read them anymore.
I have the strangest feeling it's the same dialogue as
what? That's insane. The fact that they didn't mention the color of the box, there's no way you can check now. But if you think about it from an optimistic point of view, just maybe the other box was empty and this box was the winner. And being satisfied, or perhaps not, with such a cheap prize, you pop it into your mouth and start chewing it happily. So, what did you think in the end?
I don't like box problems that don't have a third one and Monty Hall.
Well, we'll have to find one of those in the future.
You just have a spare Monty Hall lying around somewhere?
I don't. We might be able to find one though.
Yeah.
If you were given a second chance, would you try to open the other box?
Probably rent one.
But unfortunately, the chance to choose between the red box or the blue box is come and gone, never to be seen again.
Screw you, spooky voice. I can save scum.
The chance... Get out of here. You can't do that. This is a visual novel. This is not one of your fancy video games. Now, the chance to change your selection will never come. Don't your parents often say, every choice you make in life only happens once, so choose carefully? See, choices aren't that great after all. Aren't you a little disillusioned now?
It's a very pessimistic way of just like looking at life. Like, oh no, you didn't pick this option in a choice, and now it's gone forever.
It's gone forever.
How
There's no chance of going back to that time and checking it
And
again.
like just the amount of time it spent on the negatives as opposed to the positives was like
well, that was the
really
whole
blatant.
that was the whole like cadence of the scene. It was like you could get, because that's like, you know, gifts and like wrapping paper and stuff. Like you could get something really great in this box. What if it was something awful?
What if it was just a scorpion that killed you?
What if all gifts were just awful? Yeah. What if it was? What if it was the Gomja bar?
I don't know what that is.
Guri June.
Okay.
The Gomja bar is in a box, and if you put your hand on the box, you get stabbed by the Gomja bar. Actually, that's not true. It's not in the box. It's on her finger, but there's something bad in the box.
Right.
Anyway, point is, yes. So the wake will be from 6 p.m. tomorrow, and the service will be the day after from noon until 1. The venue will be Okonomi Ceremony Hall. I see. It's Deputy Mayor Ikezawa's grandson's funeral we're talking about. We'll have to pay our respects. May I not have you go in my stead?
Okay, got it. Should I wear mourning clothes? How much should I bring for the funeral offering?
You can go in your school uniform. Make sure you button it up properly. For the money, 100,000 yen. They've done a lot for us.
And quietly whistled in awe at the exorbitant amount of money her grandmother was offering.
Wow, you keep stealing my narration.
I thought Mion was about to start speaking, and I saved myself at the last second.
It's alright. Ikezawa-san's been a prudent person ever since his days as head of the Okinawa Municipal Office. Even if those government ties paid me a visit, they'd always stay outside. But whenever I offered Ikezawa-san a cup of tea, he'd go inside and carefully listen to what I had to say. He always lent a proper ear to what people had to say. Others should learn from a person like him. The two guests made a show of nodding, making it clear they were paying attention as Oreo reminisced. The sight of them trying not to get on Oreo's bad side was humorous enough to elicit laughter from Mion occasionally. Wouldn't she know that?
Excellent question. Wouldn't Mion also know that? Wouldn't everyone in this scene know that, and this is just for the readers?
I guess it probably is. How young was Deputy Mayor Ikezawa's grandson when he died?
11 years old, apparently.
Oreo closed her eyes and shook her head lightly, lamenting the loss of such a young life. If I recall correctly, he said he only had one grandchild. How sad. There's nothing worse for a parent than outliving their offspring.
You're really nice to other people, Granny. If Shion or I died, would you be this sad?
Pulls a gun. Don't be stupid. Saying something like that is bad luck. Having got the reaction she expected, Mion cackled. The two guests, unsure if they were supposed to laugh along, instead forced awkward smiles.
I love those moments.
Yeah, we'll take our leave for today then. We'll be by tomorrow evening at 5 to pick you up. Until then, please excuse us. After banging their heads repeatedly, the awkward guests left by the front door. Mion saw them off, waving her little hand goodbye.
They're gone. Must be rough for them to pay you a courtesy visit, Granny. Would have been fine if they just broke the news over the phone.
Well, it was true that Oreo Sonozaki was a central person for both her relatives and the residents of Hinamizawa village as a whole. As a voting bloc, they numbered in the several thousands. It wasn't hard to imagine the mayor would try to pander to her. Unlike Mion, however, Oreo was looking up longingly at the sky from the veranda.
What's the matter? Are you going senile?
I just thought that no matter whose grandchild it was, I'd feel sorry for them. Saying that, she let out a deep sigh. Mion was let down, as normally her grandmother would have scolded her for that attitude. Mion, you know, that minister's grandson, how long has it been since he was abducted?
4 days, maybe?
Oreo let out another deep sigh. He may be the grandchild of our bitter enemy, but I still feel sorry for him.
Really?
That's enough of a warning. We should bring this to an end soon. The playful expression drained from Mion's face, leaving behind a stern one, and then, as if to ascertain Oreo's will, looked into her eyes. Oreo, expressing her intention with only those eyes, looked back into Mion's. I want some tea. Could you call for some? Some of that chocolate, too. Mion gave a small nod, then turned around.
Shimiko-san, are you there? Grandma wants some tea. Could you prepare some?
From far away, a voice responded in the affirmative. Mion, after confirming she'd heard, picked up the phone and began dialing.
Hello, this is Mion. Yeah, is my father there? And
Cut.
scene.
And scene. Good.
Well, there you go.
What did we learn from that?
Nothing again. I mean, I guess we learned that Mion was a lot more involved with this kidnapping incident than earlier
Apparently.
mentions of it would imply.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the earlier mentions of it were kind of... It made me expect that this was the case anyway.
Sure, yeah. You think this is all reliable?
I mean, we're obviously in that weird middle ground of reliability where it's probably reliable, and even if it isn't, it's there for a good reason.
Sure, for sure. So do you want to, I don't know, have a whack at what's going on? You think that, like, I don't know, Oreo got a hit squad going, or, you know, Mion's father maybe, or...
I mean, I feel like it's probably Mion's father, and he's like, look, mother, look at what I've done with your empire, and she's like, okay, I guess we can go with this.
Maybe that's what's going on.
Like, that's kind of the way I read this, you know, she seems to be like, you know, amused at her son's joke of kidnapping the grandchild, but the joke's wearing thin.
She does seem very amused, doesn't she? She's a lovely old bat, isn't she?
Well... Yeah, I don't know. It's really strange how this arc is paced with such long tips and short chapters.
It's true. It's a weird arc, and it's a time-wasting arc after all. And I definitely feel like my time's been wasted. Kapow! Ka-ching!
Next time.
Got him.